physical world, but we are surrounded by spiritual entities. Hold up, what you talking about? Ghouls and ghosts and goblins? What you think? No, I'm talking about spirits. Even when you see, when you understand what's being said, we all have, when you hear my voice, you know what you're hearing? My spirit. My spirit. You know, we talked about that before. Do you know that every individual has a distinct smell to them? You can't see it, you can smell it. Everybody has a distinct smell. That's why when somebody does something and they on the run, if they can get some of their clothes, they let the dog smell it, and then the dog is going to, because when we moving about, guess what? Our scent is in the air. If you ever been any place and somebody walks by you, sometimes, and it's like right after they walk back, then you get a whiff of their scent. It's not like an odor, like a bad odor, like it stink or something like that, but we all have a distinct smell to us. My wife, who died last year, for a little while, I kept some of her things because when I smelled it, I could still smell her. Same thing happened when my son died. My wife, she kept some of his things because when she smelled it, she could still smell him. Everybody has a distinct smell. My point being, it's the spirit. That's what it is. It's the spirit of an individual. So we are spiritual beings who housed in this flesh. So there are other spirits that still exist. We just can't see them. Unless I will open your eyes and you can see. Now, I'm not asking for that. But there's something he showed me some time ago, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But intellectualization. Thinking about stressful things in a clinical way. Now this is how they express it. Losing a close family member and staying busy with making the necessary arrangement instead of feeling sad. You know what that reminds me of? And I'm just going to give you this because it's the first thought that crossed my mind to show this example. But you remember in Good Times when James Evans died and what Florida, this may not be the best example, but I'm just going to use it anyway, but just replace what she did with, intellectualizing. Instead of mourning, she wanted to be busy. She wanted to stay busy doing something. That's what this is talking about, But there came that point where the famous line came, because her children wanted to help. No, I got it. And she picked up this bowl and she just, and then we all familiar with it if you saw the show. She didn't allow that to happen. She was trying to fight it up. But some people do that by intellectualizing. Now this is what Albert helped me to see. Now we get into why do atheists believe what they believe? Now when you think about denial, and when you talk about these defense mechanisms, it's like, well, I'm going to either be denial, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be this. No, it can be intermingled. We're going to see that. So what they're going to do now, they're going to intellectualize, and now everything has to be based off of science. So somebody came up with this clever phrase. If I can't see it, smell it, taste it, touch it, hear it, etc., it doesn't exist. In other words, if it's not something that I can experience with the five senses, it does not exist. So in their mind, they have just intellectualized the existence of God and dismissed it. Or you had science. Because now that we have science, now that we have an educated way to hypothesize and test these experiments, etc., 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 they dismiss the belief because now it's about intellectualizing, right? So here's the thing. What they don't realize what they're doing, they are still exhibiting faith. Let me give you an example. Any scientist who teaches about the Big Bang Theory, right? They don't know that happened. They are theorizing that it happened. They don't have any concrete evidence that took place. Because, like they say, if I can't see it, taste it, touch it, smell it, etc., it's all it says. So, if you can't do that with the Big Bang Theory, you can't do that with the theory of evolution. Nobody has ever seen a species from a guppy or whatever they start off at become something else. You never saw that. You've never seen it. But you believe it because somebody suggested it. Think about that. There was a point in the time that man existed. That belief system didn't exist. But at some point, somebody suggested it. Now they latched on to it. Well, why would they suggest that? Because it's a doctrine of demons who got around and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have people not believe that God is the creator. We're going to suggest to them that all of this stuff that's happened by accident. And we're going to have this doctrine of ours circulated among the well-to-do among mankind, because what we realize is that the lowercase folks, they happen to look up to the uppercase folks. See? The low-level educated happen to look up to the higher-level educated. So we're going to have among the higher-level educated this false doctrine circulating. And we're going to camouflage it with all these big words and things like that. And we're going to make sure that whoever bringing it forth is very articulate in their presentation, so that the people who don't know any better, they'll be easier to grasp onto it. You understand what I'm saying? All these things have been planned. There's a work in progress. People want to talk about the Most High and everything the Creator was going to do as far as the blessings and not saying you shouldn't rely on him to get you out of your problem, your situation. He does that too. But the question nobody asking, what is the adversary doing? What's the opponent doing? Because the words say that the whole world is in deception. But the adversary, how is he doing that? How is he keeping people down? How is he preventing people from accepting the one me that was given? Intellectualization is one of them. Last thing, rationalization. Justifying an unacceptable feeling or behavior with logic. See, for this example, right? So, big thing on social media is the relationship issue. You know, and I look through social media and I listen to a lot of things, you know, and hearing the pros and cons, etc., etc., etc. So now, because, you know, a man has the capacity to be with more than one woman, now it's given, they're basically giving justification to men cheating, because monogamy, it is not natural for a man to be monogamous. You know, so it's natural for a man to be with more than one person, because even when you look at the animal kingdom, and number one, I know they like to say that we're mammals and this, that, and the third. When Abba created us, he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, number one. So we're not part of the animal kingdom, number one. But see, they already disbelieve the Bible anyway. But for the Bible believers and Bible students out there, we don't have to adhere to that. See, that's where your thoughts, not my thoughts, come into play. We don't have to believe the way everybody else believes. So they rationalize it. And they use what they believe to be logic to say, well, it's okay for a man to run around and have more than one wife. Now, granted, Abba has a permissive will, but there's a means to how to do that. Okay? And what I'm seeing right now is that my time is running out. I'm getting low. So I'm going to leave y'all with this. John 3:19 and 20. This is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than the light, for their works were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light, and doesn't come to the light, lest his works would be exposed. I pray that everybody got something from all that we talked about. My apologies for things getting cut off. But as we go through different segments, as Abba brings it forth, everything will be brought back and tied up in a nice bow. Maybe I'll do an extra addendum so that we can put everything together. But as Abba leads, hallelujah. Beshem Yahushua HaMashiach. I pray that Abba's grace and mercy be upon you all, that he bless you all, keep you all, make his face shine upon you all, be gracious to you all, lift his countenance upon you all, and give you his peace. Hallelujah. Amen.